Welcome to Wednesday, the third day of January 2023. This Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Hot Springs County Travel and Tourism, reminding you that as temperatures drop and snow is on the horizon, at Thermopolis, you can always find yourself in some hot water. We'll enjoy the next couple of days, folks, because we see big changes coming down the road. First of all, it's going to be mild again today for most areas. A continuation of the very mild weather we've had after that stormy weather we had around Christmas. For another day or two for most areas in the central and northern Rockies, more of the same. But we do have this west coast storm system to bring a change to most areas late tomorrow and into the weekend. Good news for skiers and snowmobilers. Finally, some snow will return to the mountains of the Intermountain West. There's going to be some snow for the southern areas, parts of Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico. Lighter amounts elsewhere, but a colder trend. But this west coast storm's a little disorganized. But it's going to set in motion other changes. We're going to see a series of Canadian cold fronts begin to move southward over the weekend into next week and perhaps beyond. This is going to result in sharply colder temperatures and occasional snow chances in the long term. Mild December weather does not mean mild January weather, as we're going to rudely find out here in the next few days and beyond. Livestock interest, traveling interest, you need to be prepared for possible long-term colder weather. Once the cold starts this weekend, into next week and perhaps the following week, it could be here to stay for a while. The cold is likely going to be more impactful than the snow. Now, we're going to get both, but it looks like more cold than snow. But we're going to get both, so you need to be prepared. Satellite imagery this morning shows that California low spinning there along the west coast with a lot of clear skies elsewhere. There's some colder air here in those blue clouds you're seeing in the Midwest and Great Lakes, but again, it's high pressure dominating here for a little bit longer. But by tomorrow morning, that California low swings into Arizona, headed towards the Four Corners area. Now, by Friday, notice it moves through fairly quickly and it can't maintain its closed circulation anymore. So it does come through in a little bit of a disorganized fashion. But the Pacific moisture will bring some mountain snows. And as you'll see here in a moment, some snow across some areas down south here. Some wintry weather down there for sure. This is what the precipitation looks like through Saturday morning. So you can see down south here along the I-40 corridor, southern Colorado, southern Kansas, Arizona, New Mexico, and West Texas there. Winter driving conditions will be found down there, wet along the west coast, but we're also going to get some snow and rain into the Great Basin states and parts of the central and northern Rockies. It's just not going to be a lot. And there where you can see the snowfall forecast through Saturday morning. By Saturday, you can see the colder air beginning to spread in. Now, this is what I would call cold, but not really cold. But it's the first salvo of colder air coming into the region by the weekend. This is where things get a lot more interesting. High pressure begins to build in the eastern Pacific rather robustly. Notice this gray-blue area up here in the areas north of Hudson Bay. A lot of very cold air for the first time this winter season really begins to consolidate and get itself organized over Canada. We also have high pressure up here near Greenland. And when these high pressure ridges right here connect, that just opens the door. So by Sunday morning, we're going to see areas of snow, much colder air begin to invade. So Saturday night into Sunday and Monday, very cold air pours in. By Tuesday, that first salvo ends up becoming a pretty robust Midwest storm. Chicago, Omaha, Des Moines, maybe as far north as Minneapolis, you're going to have a major winter storm developing, and that'll head into the Great Lakes. Here's the next one lined up behind it. That's going to come in late Tuesday night into Wednesday and Thursday, bringing another round of snow to the Intermountain West and another salvo of cold air. See the high pressure ridge here and the high pressure ridge here near Greenland? Well, that just really sets the stage for this colder weather to move in. This is round 2. So more precipitation comes in. This is where we're talking about a Midwestern snowstorm developing late this weekend and early next week. You can see snow comes into the Rockies. Again, it's not impressive, but it will snow. And there will be accumulating snow with it. A lot colder air comes on in. So there's round 2. You can see the potential for eastern Nebraska here, northeastern Kansas, possibly parts of Missouri. Those areas could be a real problem with a winter storm, with cold Arctic air spilling into the Rockies. Then take a look at this. This is by next Thursday. The high pressure ridges maintain themselves, and we have an organization of, yes, we'll call this the polar vortex. It gets itself organized. Now notice, by next Thursday, the high pressure ridges are wanting to connect over top near the pole. Now when this happens, the Arctic air basically becomes detached from the main jet stream pattern and just wobbles around the North American continent. Historically, this leads to some really big Arctic outbreaks. And the Arctic air just goes around that vortex, spills into the western and central United States. And this is by next Friday. The Arctic air gets better consolidated, pushes even further west into the United States. And we have the blocking feature near Greenland, the blocking feature in the Pacific. This is classic polar vortex situation. This is why we're concerned, especially for livestock interest, of a long-term prolonged cold snap, as that Arctic air has easy access into the U.S. Here's what we showed you yesterday. Now, this only goes through 10 days, but you can see that by the weekend and early next week, the cold comes, and watch that cold in Canada build and expand and really come in by mid to late next week. Thing is, this takes us through 10 days, but if we go out and look even further, past 10 days, if that pattern develops that we showed you right there, and there's good agreement on the models that's going to happen, this colder weather is going to likely go past 10 days. So once we get into the weekend, into next week, the following weekend, and maybe into early next week, we need to be prepared for prolonged cold, and it's going to be for a lot of the nation. Look at the snow cover through the next 10 days that could form, so you can see how far the snow gets even into northern Mexico there. You will see the higher Rockies, the higher Sierra Nevada Cascades. This will be a good situation for skiers and snowmobilers in the snowpack. The lower elevations, we're just not sold yet that there will be a lot of snow, but we're going to have some. This goes out to Monday, the 15th of January. So if that cold gets detached and we get that polar vortex that settles in, this is the type of severe cold that could be in the offing by the middle of January. So something we need to keep a close eye on. We'll keep you abreast. Stay tuned. In the meantime, enjoy the nice weather for another day and a half or so.